All right, guys. So I got a video here that I think you'll enjoy. I certainly enjoyed it. But look, in order to be a right-wing commentator in today's day and age, you either have to know nothing about what you're talking about, or you have to be a liar. Like, there's really no way around it. You cannot be a leader in the MAGA commentariat if you tell the truth. If you tell the truth and if you know what you're talking about, because we are so far gone. We've crossed the line. The line is like 17 miles back there. That's how much we've crossed the line, right? And so you have to end up defending the most absurd things anybody's ever defended. And look, some of these people are idiots, and then others are liars, right? And it varies case by case. But here we have Representative Malinowski, Democrat from New Jersey, I believe. And he's on CNN, just sort of a mild-mannered guy. I'm sure if I went through his record with a fine-tooth comb, I'm sure I'd find some votes that I don't agree with, right? And so I'm not necessarily singing this guy's praises in terms of his voting record. But he was put up against Kevin O'Leary. Is that his name? I think it's Kevin O'Leary on CNN. And this guy, we've known this guy is loathsome for a while, right? I remember there was that Oxfam report that came out years ago, and it said something like, the 27 richest people in the world have more wealth than the bottom 50% combined. It was some fact like that. It's only gotten worse since then, by the way. Now it's like the richest, like 3 people or 10 people or whatever, have more wealth than the bottom 50% combined. And this dude went on TV, and I shit you not, he said, well, that's a good thing, because then it gives the people at the bottom something to aspire to. Yeah. The fact that those words can come out of anybody's mouth should be disturbing to you. Like the idea, bro, we live in a meritocracy. Just work harder and you'll get further. Again, that's the biggest myth I've ever heard. We have millions, tens of millions of people in this country alone that are working poor. That means they work a full-time job and they still can't pay the bills. Don't tell. I personally know people who work 2 or 3 jobs and were living at or just below the poverty line. Hardest working people I've ever met. The idea that the harder you work, the further you go is not true. It's also not true that the smarter you are, the further you go. That's not true at all. Unfortunately, in this dystopian late-stage capitalist system, oftentimes the most shameless and the most exploitative people rise to the top, or you're already at the top because you got daddy's money. Right? So just total misunderstanding of the way the world works. Total capitalist cuck. I can't say enough negative stuff about him. But they're going to talk about DOGE here and Elon. And this is glorious. Because O'Leary, like, he's so smug and so arrogant, but he just runs into a brick wall of reality. Here we go.
There's no way to be surgically precision in this. You have to cut more because you just don't know. There's no way to do it. Remember, we've never audited government for 100 years. Never done this before. You may not like it.
Tom doesn't think that's right. Tom, what's your reaction to that? The government's not audited.
Every agency of the federal government, it helps to know some things if we're going to have this debate. Every agency of the federal government is audited by independent inspectors general. USAID was audited over 60 times last year. And one of the first things that Donald Trump and Elon Musk did was to fire all of the inspectors general. They fired the auditors and they put in charge this billionaire with his 50 child interns who know absolutely nothing about the federal government. And Kevin, like what you're talking about, it might work for a company that makes widgets, because we can do without the company that makes widgets for a few months while you get in there and you restructure it. You can't do that to the FAA unless people aren't going to fly in planes for the next 4 or 5 months. You can't do that to the Defense Department unless you don't want to defend this country for the next 4 or 5 months. It's ridiculous that we're even having this argument. And I'm someone who believes there is waste in government and there are ways to get at it, but not by firing everybody first, shutting things down while you investigate. Do the investigation, work with Congress, work with these employees, do it right. It's been done before.
God damn, bro. So O'Leary, did you hear what O'Leary said? I mean, again, you either have to be a liar or know nothing. And he agreed. I would be embarrassed. You're agreeing to this debate on DOGE and Elon Musk. And you don't know the first fucking thing about what you're talking about. One more time, listen to what O'Leary says.
Yes, you can't be surgically precision. There's no way to be surgically precision in this.
There's no way to be surgically precision on this? You mean surgically precise? Oh my God.
Because you just don't know. There's no way to do it. Remember, we've never audited government for 100 years. Never done this before. You may not like it.
Tom
it may
doesn't
be
think that's
traumatic.
right.
We've never audited government for 100 years. I'm happy this guy was armed with just basic information. Thank God. And unfortunately, in many of these, like, both sides debates, oftentimes you have somebody who represents the liberal side or the left side or the Democratic side that they actually don't know all these things, right? But man, as he pointed out, we have the inspectors general. Their whole purpose is to find the waste, fraud, and abuse. Donald Trump fired them in the first week, okay? Then we also have, he didn't get to this part yet, but this is also true. We have the GAO, the Government Accountability Office. They do the same thing, and they have congressional authorization to do it. So when they say, bro, nobody's ever audited anything, bro, that's just not true. The Pentagon had 7 audits. By the way, they failed all of them. All of them. The audit prior to this most recent one, I remember because I read the article on it in Responsible Statecraft, I think it was. They couldn't account for over 60% of their money. 60%. So when we never audited anything, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. And these guys, Elon lies on a regular basis. Trump lies on a regular basis. This guy lies on a regular basis. Guys, we have hard data on this. So the Government Accountability Office says anywhere from 3% to 7% of the federal budget is fraudulent, right? But remember, they were trying to cut Social Security, and they were, 150-year-olds are getting it. That wasn't true. And we know the fraud rate in Social Security specifically is 0.84%. There's less fraud relative to other areas, and that's one they had on the fucking chopping block, just lying about it relentlessly. And by the way, the 0.84 fraud percent rate is slight overpayments to people, which I don't know about you, but I'm kind of okay with it if an 86-year-old grandma gets a little bit of extra money so she can get a ham sandwich, right? But no, Elon gives himself $20 billion in subsidies, steals $400 million more in subsidies for some Tesla shit. We just learned about that the other day. At the same time, he's slashing cancer research for kids. And they're like, bro, we got to cut Social Security like 50%, bro, because it's all fraudulent, bro. None of that is true. And then, of course, I think Kevin O'Leary is Canadian. Do you know anything about how this government works in the United States of America? We've described it before, but the way it works is Congress has the power of the purse. They pass a bill. If the president signs it, that's it. It's law. The funds go to the Treasury disperses the funds. That's it. The only people who can be involved in that process in any way, shape, or form after that point is, as we said, the Inspector General or the Government Accountability Office. That's it. Not the world's richest robber baron illegally hacking into the Treasury, stealing our bank account information, stealing our data, stealing our Social Security numbers, deleting government programs he doesn't like. And by the way, there's over a dozen, I believe, government programs that are investigating Elon Musk for his exploitative practices and his labor violations. And oh, would you look at that? Those are some of the agencies directly in the crosshairs of Elon Musk that he's dismantling. This is what we saw with the CFPB, the anti-scam police. They were going to regulate Elon Musk because Elon Musk made a deal with Visa to do financial transactions on Twitter, so they would be subject to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau regulating them. So what did he do? He killed the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Why? Because he's a con artist, and he's a fraudster, and he wants to get away with fraud, and he wants all of his robber baron buddies to also be able to get away with fraud, right? Trump gave the game away on this the other day when he was like, oh, people come up to me and they say, sir, the CFPB has ruined me, sir. Tears in their eyes. I don't doubt that happened, but you know where that happened? At Mar-a-Lago, where the head of, a giant Wall Street firm or a big bank comes up to him saying, oh my God, they're holding me accountable and not letting me commit fraud. Trump brought back junk fees. They brought back junk fees. They brought back overdraft fees, higher overdraft fees. These people don't give a fuck about you. Elon, Trump, and the lying liar Kevin O'Leary. I'll be kind. Maybe he's just a fucking idiot. Maybe he's a total moron. Maybe he doesn't know what he's talking about. But either way, you shouldn't be doing this debate. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Or you do and you're lying. So, by the way, you go ask anybody in MAGA. Ask them. Ask them. Hey, I know you think DOGE is going after waste, fraud, and abuse. They're not, but let's put that aside. Did the government have a way of going after waste, fraud, and abuse before DOGE? Ask. Watch what happens. Not a single one will bring up the inspectors general. Not a single one will bring up the Government Accountability Office. None of them will mention it. None of them. Unbelievable. And by the way, this is a nice moment here, but I also do want to say, for clarity's sake, you can't have a media environment where you have Fox News, One America News Network, Newsmax, The Daily Wire, all of these committed right-wing outlets that do MAGA propaganda on a daily basis. And then the outlets that are not that, all day long it's both sides shit. All day long it's false equivalence. It's both sides. Oh, let's bring on some absolute dead-eyed psychopath who's a MAGA supporter to lie on a panel with 4 non-MAGA supporters. Then the whole conversation gets derailed, where now you got to debunk this guy's bullshit. What about just having a news network? Here's a crazy idea. Ooh, sorry, kick this thing again. I'm making a habit of that. What about having a news network that just tells the truth? Just tells the truth. And if we're going to have that, sorry, people like Kevin O'Leary are not allowed on. Because they're either idiots or they're liars. They're either ignorant or they're liars. There's no other way around it. So they are poisoning our information system. That's the bottom line. They're poisoning it. And then nobody gets real truth. Nobody gets the straight dope with no fucking spin, right? And they got to come to YouTube assholes like me to give it to them, which is not good. That's not good. I'd rather have the truth being broadcast on major media outlets as well. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.